Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Cultured Pull List. This week, we're going to be talking about Absolute Batman, all the 13 issues that are out currently. Pretty much a year's worth of uh, comics going to be talking about tonight. It's a really good, really great series. It's been blowing up everywhere on the internet, so it's going to be a good episode. Without further ado, let's get into it. All right, hello everyone. We have a very special episode for you tonight, not just because we're talking about Absolute Batman, but I also have a special guest on the show, Taylor Murphy, the big boss, head honcho of the Cultured Nerd and the Cultured Universe podcast network. How you doing, Taylor?
I'm good. I'm doing good. It's been a long Monday, but
Yeah,
definitely good to turn off the brain and talk comics and just talk
yeah,
narrative for a bit. So that sounds ideal right
absolutely.
now.
Yeah, 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 for sure, for sure. Yeah, Absolute Batman. It's kind of crazy. Like when it first came out, like I was really interested, but I honestly wasn't expecting it to blow up as much as it has over the past
Yeah,
year. Especially because at first, like people were kind of like knocking it a bit, like
yeah,
especially when like it first came out and like the logo came out and people were like, "Oh, it's just stupid. Like it doesn't even look like a bat." And then it turned out it was an axe, and they're like, "Oh,
yeah.
okay, that's actually pretty cool." So I mean, it's pretty crazy, but I mean, I guess it kind of makes sense too, because like the Ultimate Universe has been doing really well in the Marvel side of things. So I feel like people are kind of into like the new fresh takes on things and not having to know like 80 years worth of lore,
Yeah.
to understand everything.
I always find it interesting when the publishers do this because it always seems to happen in pairs where like Marvel will
Hmm.
either be following
Yeah,
DC or DC will be following Marvel, and it's like they both have the same rough idea at the same time. And like with Marvel, it
yeah,
was the Ultimate Universe was rebooted by the the bad guy version of Mr. Fantastic, and he like rewrote the
right,
universe and made the villains in charge.
right,
And
right.
I really like the Ultimate stuff. I really
Hmm.
fell in love with the setup for Ultimate Spider-Man. I love the idea that
Yeah.
he's a dad, and
Oh yeah,
um,
it's
the
great.
whole dynamic is just way different, and I really like it.
Hmm.
Um, but then you have the DC universe, which the DC the Ultimate stuff, which is right off the heels of the Absolute Power crossover, and
Hmm.
Darkseid essentially rewrote the universe and took all the goodness out of the things, thinking that it
Yeah.
would be enough to stop the heroes. And they're still
Right.
emerging exactly who they are.
Yeah.
They're much more aggressive,
Yeah.
which is a wild take, but it's still
Hmm.
very fun. Uh, but
Oh, for
Absolute
sure.
Batman has been I think Absolute Batman and Absolute Wonder Woman have been the best of my favorites of these two because they're just so
Okay.
unique and just so
Mm.
interesting. The Superman stuff has been really cool. I like the idea of his costume and all the other bits
Yeah.
there. The Green Lantern stuff I'm not in
Mm.
love with. Same with the Flash. The Ultimate Martian Manhunter has been pretty cool, but Wonder Woman, everything about it's been just super Greek and super old fashioned and
That's true. Yeah.
really just fun and epic. I think is the way is like it just reminds me of those old Odyssey style epics, and it's really
Yeah, that's
fun
true.
to see she's
Yeah.
like 7 feet tall, tattooed
Uh
sleeves, and it's carrying a Buster
Yeah,
sword.
it's crazy.
So it's just like
It's crazy, and it's really fun too because she's she was raised in hell,
yeah,
and she's like this kind of like this crazy like warrior, like Greek warrior from Hades kind of thing, but she still very much has a similar personality to like the main continuity Wonder Woman. Like she's
yeah,
still like very like for the most part kind of
love and
like
hope kind of
positive
yeah.
love and hope. Yeah, exactly. I think that's kind of a fun contrast there. I think for me, from what I've read so far, at least, I think my favorites are Absolute Batman and Absolute Superman.
Mhm.
But I've only read like a couple issues of like each one, so I haven't like gotten. I think I've read like the first five of
Yeah.
Absolute Superman and everything. But yeah, it's been pretty crazy. I mean, just like everything about the Absolute Universe is just a lot edgier, like than the main universe. It's like what's the most like crazy edgy stuff you can think of, but it's also like it's written and done so well and so interesting that it works really well.
Yeah, it's honestly I kind of joke with the idea that like this is the version of DC that audiences have been making fun of for like the films where they're like,
Kind of,
oh,
yeah.
DC's so dark. And I'm like, clearly you never heard of the Absolute Universe because this is
Yeah.
exactly what they were describing DC films as. Because
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
but the absolute Batman stuff, I just from the get go, I think yeah, everyone kind of teased the symbol, they teased the hulking
Mm-hmm.
Batman look. They're like, oh, that's silly.
Yeah.
Then the first issue came out, and the internet
Mm-hmm.
immediately was like, no, this is fantastic. And
Yeah.
just simultaneously, everyone was like, I understand the vision. Let's go.
Mm-hmm.
And the setup, right? I mean, absolute Batman, it's different, right? So his parents,
Yes.
he had his parents. They weren't
Exactly.
wealthy. He kind of grew
Mm-hmm.
up in like the lower class inner city, and
Mm-hmm.
he grew up in Crime Alley, which was kind of a fun
Right. Yeah,
position
I
for
thought
his
that
character.
was really cool. Yeah.
Um, but his father was actually killed during a shooting at
Mm-hmm.
like a zoo, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And he kind of has his rough bit with his life. His mom's still very much a presence in his life,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
um, but his group of friends were a bunch of delinquents, which were most of his rogues from the main
Yeah,
canon.
that was
Um,
that's like one of my favorite parts of the whole thing. It's just like all
yeah,
these characters that are the rogues are like his friends, which
yeah,
is like
like his
super
best
fun.
friend is Waylon Jones, aka Killer
Yeah.
Croc, and like
Yeah.
uh, Oswald and
Hmm.
Edward and Harvey are like his main group, and then they had a
Yeah.
falling out with Selena at one point, and they don't talk about it
Right.
for a lot because there's
R-
some issues there. Um,
yeah. Yeah.
but the fact that so he's still vastly intelligent. He made his way through school through his engineering degree, and
Yeah.
with his scholarship for engineering, he learned how to not only understand the entire infrastructure of Gotham, but also how to essentially become Batman. Like he was like, I'm going
Yeah.
to do this from the ground up, and he still has that intelligence, he still has that drive. But this is like, what if Batman had nothing but those things, and how would he have been molded differently? So
Yeah.
he's like what 24, 25 in this canon. He's very young.
Yeah. Yeah. I think he's supposed to be like 24. Yeah.
Yeah, and he is bigger than he ever could have been in
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
original.
It's
Like he is
insane.
just is like this is just a roided out version of Bruce Wayne.
Right, and in like the more recent, like the some of the more recent issues,
Mm.
they even say that he's like 6'9" and like 410 pounds,
Yeah,
which
like
is
just
like
a,
he's literally as tall as LeBron James, but like 200
yeah,
pounds heavier, and it's like
he's
pure
just
muscle.
a
It's insane.
beast of a man. Yeah, like
Yeah, it's crazy.
um, so he builds his gear, he trains to become Batman, and he just goes
Mm,
out and in the first arc of the zoo, right?
yeah,
So
yeah,
it's
yeah,
aptly named after his father's
yeah.
death, right?
Mm,
And we understand that there's this new gang running around called the Party Animals.
right.
And as the storyline goes, we understand that they're not only funded by, but they're supplied with from the Black Mask, Roman Sionis.
Yeah,
Um, Alfred himself is an MI6 agent in this canon. He has no ties to Bruce, and his job is to basically do the same thing that Bruce is, and they cross paths and kind of almost kill each other until they realize that they're on the same mission. Um, but as the storyline goes, Batman's his whole life is kind of flipped upside down. His vigilante ness is exposed to his friends. They all kind of understand they understand why he's doing what he's doing, and they're like, okay, we get it. We're not going to stop you, but don't bring the war to us, kind of a thing.
yeah.
And then the big final confrontation, that first arc, is the yacht, where uh,
Right.
Black Mask basically says, "I will give you $200,000, or was it 200,000 or 2 million? Something like
I
there
think
was
it
a two and a
was
lot of
it,
zeros, right?
it was 200
Right.
million dollars, and
So
Alfred like encouraged him to just like make peace
yeah,
and take the money, which he does, but
yeah,
it turns out to be
yeah.
like
So
a trap. Yeah.
he's like, I'll do it. I'll take the deal. And
Yeah.
he goes up to meet him to have this like big, pay me off and I'll leave you alone so you can destabilize
Hmm.
Gotham.
Yeah.
And he records the whole thing and like live streams it so everyone knows exactly what he's doing, what
Yeah.
the party animals are, and like they have this big fight. There's that iconic panel where he kicks the child,
Oh
and
my god, yeah,
uh,
that's awesome.
and then like they defeat him, and then in the ending, like he's almost drowning, and then Alfred saves him, and they're like, okay, now
Yeah.
we're partners. But
Yeah.
what's the big stinger at the end is that Joker
Yeah.
is Joker. Like so, Joker is like this CIA black site kind of like ghost kind of a character, right? Like
Yeah.
he is this very unique character, but they call him the Joker because he's void of humor. He doesn't laugh, he doesn't
Right.
smile,
He
and it's kind
doesn't,
of an
yeah.
ironic name, right?
Yeah.
But Joker is
He's he's
something
kind
else,
of
right?
like Bruce Wayne in a way, but
Yeah,
like a criminal version. He's like super rich, and he's always wearing like nice suits and everything, but he's like pulling all these strings and like doing all this like crazy criminal stuff like all over the world.
yeah. Like it's a very interesting characterization because it immediately reminded me of
Hmm.
Bruce Wayne. I think even the
Yeah,
design, they were like, "This is Bruce Wayne's design. We're gonna just
yeah,
sneak that in there." But we had that tease that Joker is now doing his new Black Sites, the Arc Project,
right.
and we don't know much about what the Black Sites are for, but we know that there's
Hmm.
a bunch of arcs. There's Arc A, Arc B, and then obviously Arc M is the one he's planning on building in Gotham.
Right.
And the first arc ends with him explaining that he's got a new he's going to hire a new guy to come clean up Gotham for him because he needs this
Yeah.
project to go off the ground. And they
Yeah.
tease Bane before they even put him out there because,
Right.
well, arc two was what, the Mr. Freeze arc, right?
Yes. Yep.
And that was a very interesting arc because it was only what, like
Yeah.
2 issues, right?
It
It
was
was
only
very
two
short.
issues. Yep. It was sort of like an intermediate like
Yeah,
interlude from like the first to second almost.
yeah.
Yeah.
And Commissioner Gordon was now Mayor Gordon in this canon, but he lost the
Yeah.
mayoral reelection race to Hamilton Hill, the mayor
Hamilton Hill.
from.
Yeah. Yeah.
But what does
Yeah.
Hamilton Hill do? He goes kind of crazy, right, and just enacts
Yeah.
martial law and
Yeah.
curfews, and everything's kind of going from bad to worse. But the black site Arc M is being built on the essentially where Blackgate was, right? Like it's kind
Hmm.
of off over like the Palisades, right outside of Gotham proper.
Yeah. Yeah.
And um, Bruce's one of his friends, Matches Malone, finds out he dies there.
Hmm.
And I thought that was kind of funny. It was like this fictional character in the main
Yeah.
canon. It was
That's
actually a buddy of Bruce's, right?
that's
uh,
really fun. Yeah. Yeah. Because in the main continuity, he's like an alias of Bruce,
yeah,
so he can like go undercover and like the underbelly of Gotham and everything. So that was a really cool little twist there, little
yeah,
change.
and I mean, and Waylon gets kidnapped, and we don't really get
Yeah.
much understanding of what happens to him. But then we get introduced to Mister Freeze, and this
Hmm.
is not the Victor Freeze who's
No.
trying to save Nora. This is like,
No.
what if Victor Freeze was experimented on and turned into a grotesque monster? And
Yeah.
here's Mister Freeze now, and
It's
it's like
wild.
it was kind of like nightmare fuel, right? Like it was one of
Oh
those
yeah,
like
for
looks when
sure.
you see it, you're like, that's
Yeah.
supposed to be Mister Freeze. That's terrible. That's
Yeah, it's
horrific. Like,
horrifying.
um, and then they tease again more of the little Arkham M conspiracy. You know that the Black Site
Hmm.
stuff is happening, and um, it was a short couple issues, but we understand that what Mister Freeze was tortured and created, not so much like the scientist, like he
Yeah.
was made that way. So
Yeah,
they,
he was like frozen by his parents because he was kind of like the Nora in that
yeah,
situation because he had like a disease and then his parents froze him and like for some reason the process when they unfroze him he was like this weird like ice like Wendigo looking weird monster thing.
yeah,
It was
like
crazy,
he looked like,
like Slender Man or something. Like it
yeah,
was
like
really
this weird
weird.
mix of like the Ice Titan from Hercules, from the Disney
Hmm.
Hercules, and like a
Oh God, yeah,
Wendigo and
yeah,
Mister Freeze. Like it was the
yeah,
weirdest hodgepodge of icicle, skinny, daddy long legged monsters
yeah.
that you could ever
Yeah,
envision.
exactly.
And
But like it's so like effective. It
yeah,
works so well. It's so freaky looking, but it's still like yeah, I can see that being like an alternate universe Mister Freeze. That makes sense. Yeah.
yeah, like and I really liked just how unique this comic keeps going. Right,
Oh yeah.
every time they introduce a new character, and ironically, you had the guy who created Bane just bitch and moan on the internet about this depiction of Bane, but
I mean,
yeah,
it's pretty sick. I don't know what he's
honestly,
complaining about.
he was complaining, and I'm like, did he just look at the picture and say that's wrong? Because like
Probably.
everything else,
Probably.
characterization wise, was fantastic.
Yeah,
Um,
it's he's actually kind of similar to like his origin is somewhat similar to the main continuity Bane. It's just kind of like tweaked to fit, the absolute universe.
right? I mean, I was reading it. I'm like, this doesn't seem that too different of a Bane, right? Like this is
No,
still.
no, not really.
It seems like this is a version of Bane who's still smart, who's still tactical, who's still
Yeah.
um, methodical, but he's not drunk and stupid off the venom. Like he uses it as the
Hmm.
weapon, but he's still able to
Yeah.
taper back. And it was very unique seeing this version of Bane. And when you're like, this is the Bane that I remember from so many different issues, but he has a different edge now. And it was
Hmm.
very cool to see him. And that's the next arc, is that they jump right into the Abomination arc.
Yeah.
And In this arc, right off the bat, Bane just beats the shit out of Batman, and Batman
Yeah.
gets like taken. And
Hmm.
they find they kind of open up to Batman now in like a cell in the Arc M, and like he's been stripped down and he's just like put on display, right? Like he's just kind of there. And
Yeah.
then he sees in the cells around him all of his buddies, like his friends, the ones who are like, don't bring this war to us. They got the war brought to them.
Hmm.
And I thought that, like, the whole mutilation of his friends and the whole
Yeah. Oh yeah.
that was interesting because you had Cobblepot who had his like body shattered and everything broken, and
Hmm.
that was like, okay, so
Hmm.
he's probably gonna walk now with limps. He's gonna look kind of deformed,
Yeah.
like he's gonna become the penguin-esque looking dude. Um,
Exactly.
they mentally broke Edward, and now Edward is whispering riddles to himself to soothe his trauma.
Yeah.
And then what they did to Harvey, where they essentially just lobotomized him and burned half his
Yeah.
body and split his
Yeah.
personality. So
Yeah.
they made the villains,
Exactly.
and I was just like, this is. It was like one of the darkest pages in this constantly
Oh.
dark
Oh
comic,
yeah.
right?
Oh yeah.
It's just like when you get to that point, you're like, wow, how are they going to top themselves? Batman just kicked a child, and then
Yeah. And
you see
then
this, and you're like, okay, the Arkham universe, the absolute universe just continually tops itself, right?
yeah. Yeah. Yeah, this whole arc was like this was probably the most gripping arc to me,
Yeah,
because it was just constantly like I wanted to know what happened, but it really leaned into like some body horror stuff too
yeah,
when
yeah.
Bruce was in Arc M or whatever. And what I thought was crazy too was when they were really just kind of like taking off his costume and stripping him down to everything. They were like pulling out a bunch of like weapons out of his body. He had like hidden
Yeah,
weapons and stuff in his body. It's insane. Like they didn't really bring that up before, but
yeah.
to
It
like just
was.
to know that it's kind of nuts.
It's very interesting because as this one went on, you obviously have Selena Kyle coming back into play.
Right, like yeah,
Selena's
towards the
kind
end.
of she's differently characterized, but also not so much. I mean, like the
She's probably
internet was like,
was one of the most similar characters to
yeah,
the main continuity as
like everyone's
everyone
like,
else.
oh, she's black now. I'm like, but guys, we all
Yeah,
know how it was in the '60s.
yeah.
That's not new, guys.
Right, yeah, right, yeah, that's true, exactly.
Well,
Yeah.
honestly, I think the biggest departure is that she's Brazilian now, right? And I'm like,
Yeah,
okay, so I okay,
and she has like the black, like her helmet's like made from a party animal's helmet or
yeah,
something.
yeah. She took one of the black mask tech so that she could
Yeah,
use the tech to her benefit.
yeah,
Um, but she is very interesting how they characterized her. But she's still very much Selena Kyle, and
yeah,
there's so many issues where like she's like arguing with Batman, and then they're like, I hate you, I hate you. Okay, we're gonna bang now.
yeah,
And you're like, what is
exactly. That
happening?
yeah, it feels
um,
very much though like Bruce and Selena and like
yeah, it's like
the
it's still very much who they are, and you're like, okay,
exactly.
okay, this is
Yeah,
weird.
yeah,
Um, and then you have the story that they did with this last arc was with Batman kind of confronting how far he's willing to go and what he could become, like with his whole
yeah.
decision to use the Venom, right? Where
Right. Yeah.
he's like, I could become this monster, but I could
Hmm.
harness it for good. He's like trying to rationalize using
Yeah.
this thing that's going to basically drive him over the edge.
Yeah.
And he becomes faster, he becomes stronger, but he becomes more aggressive.
Hmm.
And they did such this interesting thing where even Alfred comes back into play with very common Alfred nature. Like, you cross
Yeah.
this line, you're going to undo all the work you've done your entire career. Everything
Yeah.
you've built toward to becoming, you're going to undo it with this new tool that you have. And it really pushed this whole temptation and addiction angle with Batman that we haven't
Yeah.
really seen before.
Yeah.
Um,
That's true.
which I thought was really unique because I mean, in the standard comics, we all kind of understand that Batman is addicted to the violence. He's addicted to
Sure.
this catharsis that he's chasing, where he's like, my family was stripped because of this violence, so I'm going to use this violence to prevent everyone else having this issue.
Hmm.
And he's kind of chasing this trauma and using his trauma to prevent other people from going through it. But in this one, they take this whole addiction angle in a very unique way with introducing this young Batman grappling with the idea of using the Venom to become a better version of himself, but also a
Yeah.
worse version of himself.
Yeah.
Um, which is very interesting how they did that. Then they also introduced the Red Hood gang,
Yeah, that was really cool. I like. Oh yeah, and
Um,
it's like run by Harley Quinn, right?
yeah, and she's
Yeah,
like this crazy version of like Tank Girl looking Harley Quinn,
yeah,
where she's
yeah.
like got a
Pretty much.
bazooka and like a skinned head, and
Yeah, it's
um,
wild.
they're like part anonymous, part street gang. Like they have this
Hmm.
weird angle how they do things, and the whole goal is to stop the Joker, stop Arkham, and stop Bane and all this stuff. And it's a very unique take on how they do
Yeah.
all these things in this world, because these characters that are inherently the villains are, some of them are allies to Bruce,
Hmm.
and the worst villains are still the worst villains. But like seeing
Right.
Harley and the rest of the gang being like, "Oh yeah, we work with this guy," and you're
Yeah.
like,
That was
"This
a
is a."
that was a cool twist.
It was very interesting to see how they changed things up, and like from the uniqueness to the party animals to like Sionis
Hmm.
just dropping weapon caches and he's trying to destabilize the
Oh yeah.
country, to even like Joker and his whole like the Middle East conflict is now over, so we have to destabilize Gotham a different way with, and he's having Bane try to destabilize Gotham and drive it
Hmm.
into chaos. It reminded me a lot of like the Nolan Ra's al Ghul
Yeah.
is going to destabilize Gotham to make it eat itself, and I was like,
Yeah. I can
this is
totally see. Yeah. That's
very
a.
cool how they're doing this. But now we're coming up on the next arc, and we're kind of
Yeah.
all waiting to see this horrific Jekyll and Hyde presentation of Joker.
Yeah, right. Well, yeah, because like the end of this, because I think the next issue, I think issue 14 is going to be like the end of this current like Abomination
Yeah,
arc. I think because at the very end, Bruce like puts out a like a message to everyone, but he's challenging Bane to come like fight him in
yeah,
this like Gotham arena. So it's going to be like a big showdown, and I'm very curious to see what happens. Whether he like actually utilizes the venom that's like built into his system now, or if he's like gonna decide to not to like use his wits instead,
yeah. I mean, is he going to be
it's
Batman, or is he going to be this
yeah.
new thing? And it's very interesting because they're still showing the same kind of methods and the same kind of stories. Like Gotham can be corrupt. There is
Hmm.
systematic corruption here. The police can't be trusted, and there's still the good there, but there's also the bad there. And it's like this the whole idea that when evil thrives when good men do nothing, kind of a thing. And that's kind of like
Yeah, yeah.
this running theme throughout these. Like the corruption is everywhere. And I remember I was like reading when I was reading through all this, got that same vibe from the new Batman issue 1, where like
Oh
the
yes,
issue
yep.
starts off and you're like, clearly Bruce and Tim are being like attacked by cops that are now led by Vandal Savage, the police commissioner. Like,
Yeah, yeah.
absolutely insane way to start a Batman run.
Crazy. Yeah.
But like, you're seeing this Batman is not on the good side of the law anymore. Like Commissioner Gordon's not
Hmm.
here, so like the cops are also this huge factor of corruption and
Hmm.
um, another front he has to fight with. So
Yeah.
it's very interesting to see that like Pennyworth is now an MI6 agent, and he's not a butler, but he's like clearly still been training this entire time. So he's
Hmm.
older, but he's still like Batman peak strength, right? Like he's still there. And
Yeah.
then you have his allies are, he doesn't have any now, right? I mean, he's got Wayland
Right.
and he's got Catwoman,
Yeah, yeah, which I
and
really liked what they did with Killer Croc. Like, I mean,
yeah,
for one thing, like that design is insane. Like his mouth goes like down his neck. Like there's just like a
mm-hmm.
row of teeth going down his neck. It's like what the heck is that? It's crazy,
Yeah,
like monster shit. But him being like him still being Batman's friend and like helping him escape Arkham was really cool, I think.
and this is just something that's going on in the comics too, because like even in Batman
Hmm.
issue 1, like Wayland
Yeah.
Jones is like not even bad anymore. He's like talking to Batman
Right.
like he's his friend. I was
That's
watching
true. I
this. I'm
kind of
like,
forgot
is there
about that.
something
Yeah.
happening at DC where they're just trying to like Killer
Yeah.
Croc's not a bad guy right now? Like
Maybe they're gonna develop like a Killer Croc series sometime soon or
maybe
something. They're just
it
like
was
building up to this.
it was really funny just seeing that both of these stories have these same kind of similarities,
Yeah.
and um, Croc is like in one story he's like his best friend who's turned into a monster, but still his like keeping his mentality. And the other one, it's like
Mhm.
he was the monster, but now he's devolving into a child mentality and thinks of Batman as like his friend. And I'm like,
Right.
this is so
Yeah.
weird.
Yeah.
But okay, cool. But
Y-
honestly, this whole absolute Batman arc has been
Hmm.
such a wild ride, and we're only 13 issues. Like, you can sit down and
Yeah.
read this whole thing in like 2 hours if you wanted to.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, it's been such a wild ride to like to go through how much has happened over the last year with this
Hmm.
comic. And I don't think it has an end planned, right? Like, I know that the Ultimate
Yeah.
Marvel
I don't think
universe is
so.
planning to be ending this December, but
Yeah.
I think the
Think
art,
the official like end of the Ultimate Universe is going to be like in March and April.
right?
Like they're starting like the decline in like December. But yeah, but like the Absolute Universe, I think they said they don't have any plans on ending it anytime soon, which is really smart because it's doing really well. Why would you end it on a high, like I mean I get the idea of wanting to end on a high note, but I feel like there's like so much more they can do with the Absolute Universe. So I'm glad they're like keeping it going.
Yeah,
And they're also going to cross it over with the main universe and DC KO at some point, because in the first
which
issue of KO, like yeah, I'm not sure that's going to work, because they even said, I think at the end they teased that like the Absolute Trinity is going to be like Darkseid's champions somehow. So I'm curious
I,
how the
I
hell
have
they're going to do that.
I have so many questions on how that's going to work. But
Yeah,
again, this is also the universe that Darkseid created, so
yeah,
we'll see
yeah,
how he's perverted more things. I mean,
yeah,
but it's such an interesting take on this new universe that it kind of also exists tandem to everything. So it's like it's a new
yeah.
Elseworld branch, but it's also not like I don't know. I'm really happy with what they're doing here, and this universe is it's unique, and you can tell that Darkseid really tried to mess things up, and it's
Yeah, for sure.
kind of kind of working, but kind of not.
Yeah, exactly. I think it really just kind of is a testament to the resilience of the heroes, that they're still able to be good in this like world that's bent towards evil pretty much.
Yeah,
I think that's really cool. And but then there's ones that like Absolute Green Arrow, the Absolute Universe version of Green Arrow, he just got just like murdered by Hawkman.
yeah.
Like immediately. It's kind of crazy like
Or
who's,
even like this version of
survives and who
Zatanna
doesn't.
was like in an asylum and like locked up and chained up against the walls. Like
Oh
their takes
yeah.
on all these characters are
It,
just so
it's
wild and
it's
aggressive.
wild. It almost feels like a giant like DC Black Label
Yeah,
universe. It's kind of stuff they've kind of tried to do in the past, and it's had like varying success. But this is just a full send universe that also ties into the main continuity in some ways, which is pretty sweet. I
yeah.
really enjoy that a lot. And I'm really looking forward to what the hell like is up with Absolute Joker, because in the end of the first arc, we saw he's getting these weird like baby blood transfusions or something.
Yeah,
Like it's like what the hell is happening there? That's weird. And then he's gonna
yeah.
turn into this giant like monster thing. Like I don't even know how to describe it. It's almost
It
like
it kind of
yeah,
reminded me of like Spawn with like the Vindicator and
yeah,
Clown.
yeah, yeah,
Like I was
yeah,
like, that's kind of
yeah,
the like he's just this normal dude and then turns into this gargantuan monster.
yeah.
Um, it's honestly the weirdest take they can take on it. And every time you
Hmm.
see these designs, if people go out there and look at the design, the Ultimate Joker is terrifying.
Oh
It's like
yeah,
it is something that I'm very curious how they're going to play it in the story, and I'm just kind of be on the edge of my seat trying to figure out what they're going
hmm,
to do next because
yeah,
it's uh it's very unique and I like it.
yeah. Yeah, and I think in some upcoming issues, I think it's Absolute Batman. He's gonna meet Absolute Wonder Woman.
Mhm.
I'm curious how that's gonna happen and how that's gonna like turn out, because that's gonna be the first actual. I think it's gonna be the first actual like crossover between the Absolute series
I think so too.
that we've
Didn't like
seen.
the
Yeah.
picture that they showed off was like he's still as big as he is.
Yeah.
He's still looking up
Yeah,
to
he's
her.
still
Like,
looking up at she's which is really cool. They kind of take, aspects of the heroes from the main universe and just make them extreme. Like
yeah,
Batman's always been kind of a big, dude, but now they're like, what if he's just like freaking huge, like
yeah,
the biggest dude ever? And what if Wonder Woman's actually like, I don't know how tall she is. I mean, she's got to be like close to like 7.5 feet tall,
yeah.
which is nuts,
But it kind of reminded me of the Darwin Cook, the New Frontier, where like she was an Amazon
Mm-hmm.
and she was like 6'6", and she was looking
Mm-hmm.
down on Superman, who was like supposed to be like 6 foot. It reminds me a
Yeah.
lot of that, where like she's
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
like, "Hey, Clark," looking down at him.
Yeah, which I don't think we've ever really seen in like in an adaptation that I can think
No,
of. where she's like that big. Like definitely not in like live action. I don't think really even in most cartoons. You
No,
know, she's
because Gal
tall
Gadot
but
is
not
not that
that tall.
tall.
No,
So
she's like 5'10", and even with like the heels, she's like just about the same height as like Henry Cavill.
yeah, because
So
Henry I think was 6'1", and
yeah,
even Ben was 6'4", but like they all still
yeah,
kind of looked relatively similar in size. But that's just the magic of
yeah.
Hollywood. They just do that.
Yeah, yeah, right. Which I mean, I guess it'd be kind of hard to find like a 7 foot tall actress to play
You can
to
find
play
them.
Wonder Woman, but I'm sure you could. Yeah, I'm sure you could.
A
But
real
at
Amazonian,
this
that's what they're gonna do.
right that's at the same time they're always worried about like faces and like who's
Yeah,
gonna sell tickets and stuff. But yeah, it's been crazy. I think out of all, well, I was gonna say I think Absolute Batman is kind of the craziest out of all of them, but Absolute Martian Manhunter has been pretty like weird too, in like more of like a psychological like what the hell is going
yeah,
on kind of way.
yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah,
these comics have been a lot of fun, but what else are you
hmm
reading? What other than the absolute stuff? I guess before we wrap up things here, because I know that
yeah.
you have a time limit, and we definitely went a little above it. So, what what else are you reading right now, other than the absolutes?
I've been reading a few different things. I mentioned it a couple episodes ago. I've been reading this Image Comics miniseries called Vanish
Okay,
by the Donny Cates and Ryan Stegman. And that's been pretty cool. I've been kind of like working my way through it because I read the first 3 issues because I picked them up recently. Then I went to a Comic-Con this weekend and picked up the rest of them. There's like 8 issues, and it's kind of like you've probably never heard of it, but it's sort of like Harry Potter mixed with, I don't know, like The Boys mixed with like a little bit of like A Beautiful Mind kind of thing. It's like really wild because it starts out with this like magical other world where like sorcerers are trained pretty much, but then this like evil sorcerer called Vanish, like it's actually like the name of the villain is the name of the series. But this one kid, like the chosen one, he's sort of like the Harry Potter story, but he kills Vanish, and but Vanish had already killed like the main sorcerer guy. So then all the young sorcerer kids go to the real world and live normal lives, but this one kid who kind of peaked when he was 13 and saved like their world kind of like descends into like madness and like alcoholism and stuff. And then he finds out that this new superhero team that popped up in the real world is actually the followers of Vanish, like using like these glamours to pretend to be superheroes. And so he starts like hunting them down. But as the series goes on, it's kind of like very obvious that he's kind of become the villain of this story,
yeah,
and he's like very unhinged. It's really wild. Like I honestly picked it up because I was like, oh, that cover is cool, and I like the writer and the artist, but it's a pretty cool series. I
yeah.
would definitely like, if you want to check out like a random Image Comics mini series, worth checking out. How about you? What have you been reading?
So I mean, aside from that and Batman, the new Batman run, which has been really
Hmm.
cool,
Yeah.
I picked up and I've been kind of like entranced with the immortal legend of Batman, and this is a purely Elseworlds take on the character. It definitely has these
Yeah.
like Japanese superhero vibes to him, but it's such a weird comic because it's kind of like the setup is kind of like this futuristic world, kind of like Firefly, where it's like this old
Hmm.
west setup in the first couple issues,
That's fun.
and there's this main universe, and then there's also this shadow universe, which leads to these horrific shadow apparitions coming around, and
Huh.
the immortal Batman and the immortal Nightwing and the immortal Robin are
Hmm.
tasked with hunting down these shadow creatures, and
Huh.
um, this idea is that the immortal heroes are a mantle that's passed down, um, kind of like
Hmm.
Iron Fist or like the Phantom.
Yeah.
And when the next one is chosen, they are then given the mantle and they're given the power, and they have all this stuff. And this first issue opens up with the immortal knight Batman hunting down
Huh.
Bruce Wayne, because he finds out that Bruce Wayne
Oh.
is actually a shadow creature pretending to be him. So he's
Oh
hunting
wow.
down He's hunting
Oh, I
down the
see.
doppelganger, and everyone's like, the
Wow.
Batman's killing Bruce Wayne, and he's like, it's not actually Bruce. And they're like, how do you know? And he like takes his thing off, and they're like, oh shit,
Like,
you're
oh,
Bruce. Who's
yeah, yeah.
that dude? Like it's such a wild
Interesting.
comic, but
Yeah.
um, this version, like Batman is, he's not a billionaire, like he's actually a trillionaire, right? Like it's even bigger.
Oh, shoot.
But
Okay.
he's there's advanced technology, there's space travel, there's all of this stuff in this comic,
Okay.
and it's like this weird mix of anime and
Hmm.
Firefly and um Trigun and Power Rangers. Like it's this super
Wow.
weird
Yeah.
hodgepodge of styles that I'm just like, when I first started reading it, I'm like, I don't know if I like this. Like a couple pages
Uh,
into it, and then when I finished the issue, I'm like, I need all of it right now.
yeah,
Like
that sounds like such a fresh, like a crazy
it
new
was so
take on
weird.
Batman stuff.
Um,
Yeah.
but I
Did
love it.
it
I think it's great.
did it just come out, the first issue?
Yeah, it's really fresh still. It's only a few episodes. I think it's only 3 issues in, maybe two
Okay.
issues.
Okay.
Um,
Cool.
but I think I've read issues 1 and 2, and I think the third issue is either out yet or coming, but I haven't checked out my pull list yet. So if it's out, I haven't read
Sure.
it yet. But
Okay. Wow. I'll have to check
it's
that out. Sounds pretty
very
wild.
unique. It's very
Yeah.
fresh.
Yeah.
It's Elseworlds, and they even have the big
Yeah.
Elseworlds logo on the front page. Like they let you know it's Elseworlds, and they're living up
Nice.
to that brand very easily.
That's cool because there hasn't been really good Elseworld stuff in a while. Like the last, they've started like the last year or so, but I feel like they didn't
Mhm.
really do much with it for a while. So that's cool that they're
Yeah,
doing some new Elseworlds fun stuff. Well, that is the episode for this week. Thanks so much, Taylor, for joining me this week. It's been fun to talk about Absolute Batman. It's been, yeah, I've been wanted to talk about it for a while, so it's cool to finally get
yeah.
that
Well,
out there.
whenever you want me back, I'll definitely hop on and we'll talk more comics because
Sounds
I
good.
have a stupidly large stack of comics I still need to read. So any
Yeah.
motivation to sit down and read them all is good motivation for me.
Yeah, there you go. Sounds good. Yeah, I've got a big stack as well, so sounds good. We'll have to do this again soon.
All
Thank
right.
you everyone so much for watching and for listening. If you've listened to the audio version, be sure to like and subscribe and follow and give us 5 stars if you're listening on Spotify or another podcast platform. If you're watching this at home, you want to check out the Cultured Nerd and the Cultured Pull List on social media. You can scan the QR code on the bottom left. And if you want to check out our Patreon for the Cultured Nerd to help keep the lights on and help us keep bringing you more great content, you can check out patreon.com/theculturednerd. And if you want to support the Cultured Pull List specifically, in particular, then you can check out the tier on that page there. I've been your host, Mike, and I've been joined by my guest co-host, Taylor Murphy. Until next time, everyone.
Thanks, everyone.